I have Chewy jacked up at the back end so I can get at all these areas that are actually hidden behind the bumper when it's assembled. So I suppose in this area it's more about rust protection, painting it, than about appearances, but I am going to use the top coat colour. Also in this phase of work I'm going to do the slam panels along the side and the sills. These are all the bits on the shell that need paint. But first I'm going to crack on with the boot, which I have removed.
The gas struts on the hatchback are in really good condition for a 24-year-old car. I guess it's a fairly light boot. There's little clips here. I just filmed these so I'd remember to put them back on. There's also a little earth lead for the rear heated screen. There's a rear windscreen washer as well. A little bit finicky to get off. Probably even more fun to get back on again. This edge is one of the reasons why I wanted to give this car a respray. There was rust on the leading edge at the back of the roof. Happens a lot on Japanese cars. I noticed something my dad had a few years ago was similar. So I'll clean that back to bare metal. Of course you could take the boot off and do this, but the back of the roof and also the leading edge above the windscreen is something you couldn't do without doing a full respray. Blew off all the dust from my sanding, just so I could see what I was doing. Again, paying particular attention to the edges. I want to get them smooth. There's a lot of little chips on them. Use the sanding block to get in around these awkward lips. Then blew the dust off that side as well.
There's lots of little bits I need to remove around the shell, so I don't get any more paint on them, because I've got a little bit of overspray on a few bits already. But one thing, I'm going to see if I can remove some bit of this proboscis, I think is the only word I can think of for this towing hook. I'll leave that on it for a couple of minutes. I think I'll have a look at this fuel cap.
I've got a lot of these little rubber caps to remove from the interior light sensors. Let's not call them sensors. Switches. These were a little tight. Use a bit of penetrating fluid on them. Then in contrast, the little catch for opening it from the interior was loose. A few little taps to break the rust's grip on these screws. With full weight on it, I got it. Quite a lot of parts to this. Little vent there that relieves the pressure in the interior cabin, so you don't pop your ears when you close the doors. Cleverly hidden away here, outside the door seal, but still behind the door. Nice little identifier around the fuel cap here. Diesel. English and Japanese. Just sticking a bit of cardboard in here now to mask it off so I don't get paint in there. Now, 4 of these to work on, and the screws on them are very tight. Again, loosen them with a tap of the hammer. Another one of those switches. The one on the back here is very rusty. I had to cut the nut to remove that one. I'll have to find a replacement for the reassembly. Moving on to this little repair that I did before on this side. There's a little weld. Put a bit of filler over that now to tidy it up. On this rear corner, I've just been using it as a place to use up remaining bits of filler from other jobs. It's a completely hidden area. Nice to tidy that up too. Okay, back to the towing eye, and the penetrating fluid had worked its magic, and these were relatively loose. Poking these grommets in away from my spray gun. That one's the rear washers. Okay, more of this awful sealant from around the lights. I got great advice from people about discs that could actually absorb the sealant. Now I didn't get time to order them, but I saw that a flap wheel was relatively similar. It helped a bit to use this first, then wire cut brush, and then a little bit of solvent. Just straightening out these little bits for the bumper. Using the wire brush to get at areas that the angle grinder can't get to. Then sanding down with a block all these complex shapes. Tidied up the filler on that corner repair. And blasted out a lot of dust inside these cavities as well. I removed the rear wheels and supported the front of the car so I could get easy access to the sills. Cleaned these areas that were under the hinges when I sprayed the doors. And then another one of those little leading edge areas of rust at the front of the fuel hatch. I then started using my palm sander to sand it down. I had a bit of overspray here from the doors painting. Tidied up my filler around that latch post. Using the fine paper now. Same around the fuel hatch. Sanding block then for these areas. All the way around the car. Getting a good workout. Then blew off all the dust. Masked the switches so that the paint doesn't block the little bar that goes in and out. And then use a tack cloth over all the exposed areas for paint. Then around everything with the degreaser. Although I'll still have some refinishing to do after these next coats of paint, I'm really excited about completing these areas because this will be the first time I've seen the car all in one colour.